Marina Mabrey has broken her silence finally about shoving Caitlin Clark.
We're not doing this. Apparently, Marina Mabrey has now come forward and said she overreacted with the Caitlin Clark foul. Overreacted? I feel like you're trying to cover your ass because now they're talking about investigation.
Caitlin Clark just keeps shattering records and evidently breaking egos too, because now we have Marina Mabrey openly admits to she was targeted and shoved. Yes, I heard that correctly. She said it. The jealousy is genuine, but the excuse
she gave.
Oh, you'll adore this.
1. Question for you.
Do you buy what Mabrey is selling here?
Upgraded to a flagrant 2 because of the way the fans reacted to it, Mabrey said on the shove on Clark. They gave me a tech for it initially. I don't care. Honestly, I really don't. Obviously, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to go after certain players for certain SHIT. She said, me and Caitlin were cool. She added, me and Caitlin have competed against each other in the playoffs. She threw me into the benches in the quarterfinals. We didn't go after her for.
Okay, let's start with the obvious. Caitlin Clark is not simply a rookie. It is no longer in season.
Nope.
This is year 2. She's a confirmed professional now. The hype still exists. Here. The statistics are still here. The records. Yes, she is running out of other people's records are to be broken. So now she's only chasing her own. We're discussing about a player whose trading card just at the auction, it went for $317 and $200. That's the third highest sale ever for Caitlin Clark card. And it is one of 11 that have sold for more over $100,000. And this is not even on the court. She is injured. I am currently dealing with a groin issue.
She's
sitting out. And she's still running laps around everyone in the league. Financially. But this is where things become comical. While Clark practically boosts the WNBA's visibility and importance, are some of the league's own players continue to knock her down.
Literally.
Enter Marina.
Watch when Caitlin Clark is trying to create some space. It looked like she just got hit in the eye there.
So, if you have been following the season, you already know the push we're talking about. It was not your garden. Various basketball fouls. This was not A. The block attempt went incorrect.
No.
This was, I'm about to make one of these statement type hits, except for the statement read, I'm jealous and I lost my wits for approximately 3 seconds. Here is the setup. Caitlin Clark gets. JC Sheldon poked them in the eye. A motion that already made Fever supporters furious. There is a whistle. The game comes to an end. And then, Marina Mabrey enters from the side. Like she's auditioning for linebacker drills. She placed her hands on Clark and sends her to the ground.
Scrape across the face.
Remember, this was after the whistle. This was not part of a live
play.
There was no ball to contest. There is no rebound to fight for. Only a free shot at the league's most marketable player. Now Mabrey is finally talking. Think about it. And, oh boy, she says. Sportsca's Mark Medina said she probably I overreacted a little. Just a bit. That's as if the Titanic took on a little of water. Her explanation as she claims her teammate was being hit and I wasn't good with that. She says it was not personal, which she doesn't do. Things like that, and she and Clark were calm before the occurrence. She even mentioned that in last year's angry, Clark allegedly threw her into the benches during a play. According to Mabrey, she did not retaliate, so this shove should not be seen as targeted.
Mabrey follows it up and Clark pushes her. That's going to be a second foul.
There are a couple of issues here, Marina. First, last year's playoff series, which was actual basketball. People were moving. The ball was in play and physical. Contact is part of the game. This shove That was after a whistle. That is not competition. That's inexpensive. Second, you are attempting to act like this. This is an isolated incident. It is not. I just joined a growing number of players who've gone after Clark with anything that does not belong in the game.
Kennedy.
Carter took a cheap shot. Diamond to Shields. Slammed into her at full speed. Angel. Reese and her accidental elbows.
And
Now your third, my teammate was getting hit defense.
weak.
Really weak. Everyone is watching the replay shows that Clark wasn't even on. Sheldon, you flew in. This was about sending a message. Simply and simple. Here's the bit I adore. Mabrey says she believes that the primary cause for her nasty was raised to a flagrant 2 because of how the supporters responded, as though the WNBA is sitting around and saying, well, we're going to call it nothing. Twitter is upset, so up the volume. No, Marina, they improved it because it was a flagrant period.
This incredible inability to deal with the facts and to state the obvious. It is astounding to me how Kathy Engelbert doesn't come out after the Marina Mabrey hit and say that's unacceptable. The refs got it wrong. Okay, should have been kicked out then. You weren't, but now I'm going to kick you out. You're suspended for another game or two. That's just unacceptable behavior for someone who's so important to the league or to any player, right? They can't do that. They seem paralyzed.
The supporters are not wild. They have seen enough with these non-basketball plays against Clark to find out what's happening on. And honestly, the league's lucky person hasn't been gravely injured yet, because this is the truth. Once having a player like Clark who is already huge draw every time she gets, it is not only bad to be targeted in this way.
Sportsmanship.
It is horrible business. You can't have your most bankable star body checked in ways that would get you arrested in public. Talking about that, let's be real. Suppose Mabrey had done this to someone outside of an arena, like shoving a stranger in a supermarket shop.
Guess what?
That is assault. Depending on the state you may be in, handcuffs before you hit parking.
Lot.
However, in the WNBA, it is only part of play the game,
Please.
which is why the incident, along with others, is now discussed in a hostile setting. Work atmosphere. Yes, the expression sounds dramatic, but consider it.
If
Your workplace included folks taking intentional cheap shots at you outside the regular scope of the job wouldn't. Do you have a case? The Wall Street Journal even wrote about this, and the story blew up. Fox News, Whitlock, and Dan Deutsch. Everyone had a take.
Reacted. I feel like you're trying to cover your ass because now they're talking about investigations and now you're terrified. Now you're scared. Now you're shook. That was the real you. You're a snake. It is what it is. The game before that, when you saw Clark, you stopped her from signing autographs so you could hug her.
And here, I believe Mabrey's apologies is coming from. She isn't sorry she did. She apologizes for it still being. Discuss the fact that it is part of a story of how certain players in the league is going out of its way, make Clark's life unpleasant. Because, to be clear, this wasn't merely competitive energy. The veterans they admitted it themselves. Lexi Brown stated on her show that the final rookies this year entered a poisonous environment. The energy wasn't great.
Why?
Because the players were jealous.
And
if it was poisonous last year, guess what? It's similar to this year, where the question is selling out arenas, getting 300,000 card sales.
so that's thing.
Caitlin Clark hasn't truly done anything to these players.
She's
Not trash-talking them throughout interviews. She is not lobbying referees for more calls. She's just playing basketball, attracting crowds. But for some reason, that is enough to make her a target.
The game before that, when you saw Clark, you stopped her from signing autographs so you could hug her. I would have thought y'all was cool. Now, all of a sudden, fast forward to the Connecticut game, she got Sheldon over here. You're knocking her to the ground. Tina Charles is wagging her finger at her like she's her mom or something. That's what y'all do. Y'all only won 5 games this season. I mean, what else y'all been doing this year? The highlight for the Connecticut Sun was injuring Caitlin Clark.
Now here's where things get extra funnier. Mabrey's thrust caused Sophie Cunningham to participate in the game and return the favor hard. Sophie did not merely allow it.
Slide.
She made it clear that if you mess with her teammate, there will be a price to pay. And this is the truth of sports. Protect your own. The only difference, Sophie's shot occurred during the flow of the game.
Mabrey was simply an
unjustified cheap shot. The more I think, the more this confirms what many of us have been saying. It's not about physical basketball. This is about resentment, pure and simple.
And
Mabrey's current public status. Trying to downplay it indicates that she's feeling the heat, because this is when you're on a short list of players the media is placing beneath the hostile work environment microscope. You can't simply ignore it. The league might look the other way most of the time, but if the feds or even simply the commissioner's office decided to start, if you ask questions, you will be sitting under the lights having to explain yourself. And she threw me last year's justification for sitting on the benches. That won't cut it. Not when video evidence proves that you went after her when the ball was not in play.
So,
let us zoom out for a second and connect the dots, because Marina Mabrey is not acting in a vacuum here. This whole extra contact with Caitlin Clark, it did not start with her. We can take a brief tour down memory lane and hit the highlight reel of cheap shots.
Kennedy
Carter was the catalyst for everything. There is no basketball play in sight.
Just Clark
jogging up the court. Wham. Carter nails her from behind as if it were open ice.
Hockey.
Carter smirked as she walked away. Just did something clever.
Yeah, real.
Intelligent if you aim to make yourself appear petty in front of millions. Diamond to Shields. Oh, this one is a classic. Clark runs down the court, and here, Shields appear as if she is the safety in an NFL blitz scheme.
Ball.
Not near the crash.
It was.
Pure. I'll make sure you hit the floor.
So she did.
Angel Ree is the walking controversy. Elbows, harsh fouls, and unintentional contact. That appears to only happen when Caitlin's
around.
The number of oops plays she has. We could fill a blooper reel if bloopers frequently conclude with someone hitting the hardwood. JCS Sheldon. A poke in the eye.
Yes,
that's correct. Physical contact is one. Nothing except eye pokes. We are now mixing WNBA basketball featuring WWE heel tactics. Fortunately, this was the case. Preparing for Mabrey's dramatic arrival. Here's the kicker. Neither of these are. Basketball is being played. We're not discussing hard screens, tough rebounds, or aggressive drives to the basket. We're talking about moments where the play has either ceased or the contact has absolutely nothing to do with the ball. You notice that
pattern?
Because everybody else does. Now, I understand that some people will say, it's part of the game. She's got to toughen up.
Yeah, okay.